Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. Welcome to the channel. Um, for those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over at Patreon, you guys know how much I appreciate your support. I just always like to, shout you guys out. Thank you to everybody that attended that impromptu charming last night. That was not expected to happen. So it was great to get a couple of charmings in and see you guys on that live event. I was just testing cameras. Um, but thank you all for coming into the room and supporting me in that way. So this is the daily forecast, actually the daily forecast for Sunday the 17th, which also Sunday's forecasts, for those of you that are new, are always a little bit different. They start out as the energy of Sunday, right, the 17th of May, but they also double as the underpinning energy throughout the entirety of the week. So we're looking at these cards in a dual format. One is like sort of the beginnings of this energy starting on Sunday, and then it carrying throughout the week. Each card representing about maybe a day or two of the week. Now, not everybody's going to experience all of these cards. We're all on different trajectories and paths, but some of these cards are just to be used as guideposts or, maybe validation or focal points for us throughout the week so that we can kind of either know what to expect, search what to search for or to look out for. This is just really used as a form of sort of hopefully inspiration, validation, and guidance for you. So nothing that I say here should be set in stone. And it's always a timeless message too. So if this video has shown up and it's not like May 17th, you don't have to turn it off. I always ask Spirit to come in and kind of help me give the message for the greater collective, for the highest and greatest good when they see it, whenever it is that you come across this video. So with that as the intention, it means that the information here is still valid. It's just a matter of when you come across it, right? So there's always that aspect to this. So keeping that in mind, you don't have to turn it off if you're watching it on a day that's other than the 17th. There might still be information in here for you. Hell, all these cards could represent one day for some people, when we're busy and we're going through it and a lot of stuff is happening to us. These weeklies can actually represent a full day. So, a busy day, but a full day nonetheless. So let me start shuffling cards. Ways you can support the channel if you'd like. One of the best ways is to get a monthly subscription. It just lets me know that you're paying attention, that you value the work that I do. You would go over to patreon.com, look up Engelgeist, and choose a subscription level. If you do choose a subscription at the lowest level, you do get the daily forecast a day early. So it allows you time to listen, take the information in, prepare, that sort of a thing, know what to expect a little bit ahead of time, a little bit of forewarning. There's also other levels of subscription there where you get different readings like a Cupid's love reading or an Archangel message that I do monthly. There will be tarot classes at the highest level, and at the highest level, which is $33.33, you are entitled to one free charming a month. So my charmings are normally $25, so basically you kind of get your money back right there, plus with the dailies and everything. So there's that over at Patreon. It's a great way to support me. You can always book a private reading through the business page. If you have any questions, just message me there, and that's another way of supporting me. Please like and share either my YouTube channel or any video you watch or my business page. If you choose to subscribe, which I greatly appreciate, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live. That's both for Facebook and YouTube. And last but certainly not least, although I'm not the best Instagrammer, I am on Instagram at Engelgeist333. If you want to follow me there, that's another way to either reach out and contact me or just, kind of keep tabs on what I'm doing. Although I'm not always as up to date on Instagram. So I'm just warning you guys. I'm not a millennial. So I'm still learning the old Instagram. So let's see what's going on for this week. What do people need to know this week? What is the message? Greater good. For the week of the 17th through the 23rd of May. Okay. So our first card out, beautiful, is the moon. All right, the moon is usually associated with the symbol of Pisces, right? And the moon to me is always about intuition, our shadow selves, the darker side, the more quiet, subtle energies that we deal with, both internally and sometimes externally in situations around us, right? To me, this speaks to heightened awareness for us. This speaks to the idea of the possibility of picking up on information that normally we don't otherwise do. This might be a little bit of sensitivity for some of you. This could feel in some ways. Hold on, I gotta go shut the door because the cats are starting to run. The minute I start talking, that's my sock, you ding dong. I swear, my Maine Coon cat, he thinks he's a dog. He picks up my socks and starts carrying them through the house. He's so strange. All right. So, what I was saying is, some of us might be feeling extra sort of sensitive in the early part of the week, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It could transfer to some emotionality. And the reason why I say that is this wave here feels like it's sort of rocking this house. It's kind of like something's knocking at the door. It's the best. If this fans are rocking, don't come a knocking. To me, it feels like that. It's sort of like something may be. Okay, that candle's out. Thank you. Let's light another candle. Um, it may be a little while or a little obvious, a little in our face at the early part of this week. Okay. Um, Intuitively, I would say pay attention to your dreams during this time. I would say to pay attention to your intuitive sort of pull. Looking at this card makes me think of the tides, especially with this wave here and how the moon affects the tides. The moon can also affect us in how we get pulled throughout our life. Like, where do we get pulled? Do we get pulled into emotional situations? Do we get pulled into, situations that we're feeling don't, necessarily intuitively feel right? That sort of a thing. It's a little bit more of a subtle voice. Let me just check the calendar. Do we have any full moons during this week or anything weird going on with the moon? We have a new moon on the 22nd, which is the latter part of the week, just so you know about that. I don't know what sign it's in. I'll have to look it up this week and see. But this to me seems like it just is calling out to me to tell you guys to be aware of the more subtle energies. Some of them are not going to be quite so subtle for some of you. Some of these are going to feel like maybe your foundations are being rocked, you're being challenged in some ways. Situations might present themselves in ways that are um, obviously challenging. But what I do want to say about this card is I feel like this moon has a peace and a serenity to it. There's a little bit of a ease to it or a grace to it that we want to maintain and hold while we're dealing with some of these challenges in the early part of the week. Now, these challenges might be completely internal. That's the moon aspect of this, the sort of darker side or the internal, the quiet, the subtle nature of the moon. It could be more of our intuitive side being rocked or our emotional side being rocked, and we may be keeping it inside of ourselves, right? We might be feeling challenged within, right? How we feel within the world as it exists today, right? I'm just using that as an example. That's okay. The moon also offers guidance through sort of darker periods, right? Through the night. And so to me, this is a strong card. It's major arcana, so it comes with a lot of lessons. It comes with a lot of opportunity to sort of see things from a different perspective, to see things that were there that we otherwise didn't sort of acknowledge before, right? The moon can reveal secrets. It can reveal aspects of ourselves that we maybe didn't want to look at or don't want to see, but now we kind of have to. But the one thing that I do feel like with the moon is that the moon sheds her light on those things, and then we're able to work with them with sort of like an intuition, a grace, a peace, a quietness, if we're actually utilizing this energy, right? This more subtle energy. It's subtle, but it's also intense. This way it says to me that we're going to get rocked a little bit, or we could. There's potential for some of us to get rocked, but I feel like that potential is due to the resistance that we put up in a situation. So be mindful of any resistance that you have during the early part of this week too, okay? Allow your intuition to be your guide, to move you through these situations, with hopefully ease and grace in the early part of the week. Now let's look at the midweek card. Interesting. The midweek card is the Three of Cups. Three of Cups is always about celebration. This is a really odd drawing for the Three of Cups. All right, so I love this lion energy that's happening in the middle of this cauldron with flames on a cups card. I'm like, what? Like, I can get the water references to the moon because the moon affects the tides, but like with the Three of Cups, to me, this deck is so strange. Like some of the wands symbols have so much water in them, and then like the cups cards have fire in them. And I'm like, which way am I going? This has been nothing but a challenge for me with this deck, but I think that it's good. All right, what I do want to say about this is the traditional tarot meaning about the Three of Cups is usually a celebration, coming together with friends, enjoying yourself, celebrating the union of just sort of being back together and that sort of a thing. But to me, this feels less like that. It almost feels like us concocting midweek opportunities for ourselves is the best way to describe it. I feel like this has a positivity and a strength to it. Whatever rocks us in the midweek, we feel like we are brewing the solution in the early week, whatever rocks us. Intuitively, if we listen to that moon within us, right, we're able to sort of come to this place of empowerment. This lion here, lion, I would call it, it represents strength, and the straightness of this arrow to me also represents a strength of purpose, a determination, a clarity, right? And this would be a cups card. So to me, this would feel like we would have this clarity or this strength around our emotions, having dealt with some of the deeper, more sensitive aspects of self in the early part of the week. We feel empowered and emboldened to sort of go after our goals. Look, there's a castle in the sky up here, right? So something that might feel out of reach or impossible may actually, by midweek, we might be able to dream a little bit. We might be able to feel those feelings or those emotions around the idea of actually having said dream. And in doing so, we start to create this, to me, this cauldron looks like us starting to put like the desire on the fire, right? And start to like let that sort of mixture within us bubble emotionally to propel us kind of forward in strength, in directness, in determination, feeling supported. We have these two, this is the sun and this is the moon here. To me, we're supported and energized. We're intuitively supported, but we're also energized and by the sun. So I feel like this card has an opportunity for celebration, an opportunity for optimism, but I also get this serious strength. Like this spear and this lion are giving me this kind of like, ain't nobody gonna stop me now kind of vibe in the midweek. Where this feels like there might be, in the early part of the week, there might be some challenges that present themselves to us. They might rock our foundations a little bit, but we recover quickly. It's almost like the rocking helps us step into this power for some of us, if that makes sense. And this could be a power around a bunch of different choices. But whatever it is, it's about going after a dream for some of us, or things that we thought that were outside of our reach. We're actually starting to see ways or means of getting ourselves there, or believing in the idea that that's actually possible. I'm going to take a sip of coffee 1 second. So this feels very empowered, and this does feel like reason to celebrate. But I feel like there's also work to be done. It has this bubbling cauldron has this feeling of us like taking the metaphor of a bubbling cauldron, us putting the ingredients in to create the stew that's going to create the meal that's going to sustain us. And this castle would be that meal, that desire, that high want or change that we seek within ourselves or out in our outside world. How do we go about creating the magic, the opportunity, and pulling upon our own strengths, our own intuition, and our own determination to get ourselves there, okay? So I really like this card. Let's see what the end of the week card is. Ooh, okay. Lots of heady energy for this week. This is the Hierophant. Hierophant is, and look at, he's sitting in front of a cauldron with the moon above his head. All right, so I feel like the Hierophant is always about like higher learning institutions, He can sometimes represent marriage and things like that. I don't know if there's anybody out there watching that are wanting to get married or were thinking about getting married, but this could be the finalization of plans of that, or maybe starting to see that coming about for some of you specifically. But I want to say this. Whatever we've got concocting by the midweek, we're totally in control of by the end of the week, right? To me, he's sitting there working with his cauldron, excuse me, at peace. He's in line with his moon. He's in line with whatever was going on in the beginning of the week. He's sort of, I feel like there's a mastery that's taken place for him. There's an opportunity here that's taken place for him where he's in touch with his intuition. He's in touch with his higher knowing. He's aware of himself and who he is, how he feels, what he knows. And he's still continuing to work on those sort of dreams, that castle in the sky. But I believe that it sort of feels to me like um, it's no longer a castle, right? To me, I feel like it's no longer a dream, let's say, is what I mean. Not no longer a castle. It's no longer a dream. To me, he's actually actively sort of working towards that. In his, I get like the fact that he's seated, okay, to me feels like there may not be a lot of physical action taking place for us this week, but there's a lot of sort of intuitive and emotional. Oh my God, Bodhi, can you stop snoring so loud? Um, his emotional stuff that's going on in the midweek, I feel like it starts to get funneled and channeled, and really we're owning it by the end of the week. We have an understanding of the power of it. We have the understanding of the not only our intuitive power, but our emotional power. We're putting those powers to good work. We're putting those powers to sort of bringing about what it is we need. I feel like the fires or the desire or anything that might have been sort of pushing us forward out of urgency will cool a little bit, and we will start to see this mountain range in the background speaks to this idea that we'll start to see the challenges ahead of getting to our dream. But I sort of feel that the Hierophant is fully equipped and aware of how to get there. He's smart enough, he's capable enough, he's educated enough, he's got enough sort of internal wisdom to be able to continue this journey on into the following weeks and months, right? But we have to trust that within ourselves. We have to almost see that within ourselves, treat ourselves as the Hierophant, and expect that of ourselves, you know? Some of you, the Hierophant, like I said, can deal with institutions, marriage, things like that. Sometimes he can be like legal issues, things like that. So for more specific situations, for more specific viewers, some of you might find yourselves having to deal with those sort of things by the end of the week, and you might have to keep the coolest, calmest, collected sort of version of yourself, but know that you have the strength and the power to get through this. And let me see, what does the Mystical Shaman card have to say? Sorry, my dog is snoring right underneath the desk. He's like, I love how they get up and then they go right back to bed. So, excuse the snoring, guys, but it's bulldog life here. Okay, the Coyote. So, Coyote to me is interesting. And the first thing I'm going to say right out of the gate is all of these cards have a very blue hue to them, right? Except for the flames here. And when I add Coyote into this whole reading, he seems separate from these three cards. He seems disconnected. The first thing I think of with Coyote energy is the trickster, right? The Coyote is the kind of, like, they're smart, they're cunning. And the funny thing is with this card, and I don't know, I haven't read the description of it, but I want to say this is some of this energy here. Whatever's hitting this house is this Coyote. I'm gonna say there's a dual meaning with this Coyote card, okay? And he's also the flames that is underneath this cauldron. Now, this message may only be for specific people here that are watching. It may not be for everyone, but I don't usually give sort of warnings. I don't like to do that. That's not the style and with which I read, but I do feel like there is a sort of warning with this coyote card. Um, medicine to me, just in my learning, is that of trickster. He comes around to sort of teach us. He's a hunter, right? And he sort of is an opportunistic hunter in a way. And so to me, coyote energy feels like the idea of um, being aware that there might be someone or something, like a situation around us, that could be opportunistic. And I mean opportunistic in the sense of it maybe taking advantage of us or tricking us in some way, shape, or form. And part of why I feel that is because we kick off with this moon, which is such a strong intuition, and we also have this moon and sun in this second card, which is us sort of getting smart during this week about a situation that I feel like maybe has been tricking us or engaging us in a way that has not been helpful. But the truth is, with coyote medicine, is we always need to be thankful to coyote because coyote educates us. Coyote almost makes us become the Hierophant, right? Coyote grows us in a way. Coyote sort of teaches us through its trickery or through its sort of opportunistic sort of hunting. And I see this like vision right now, and this guess I'm cuckoo, but I see this vision of this coyote sort of circling around us, sort of nipping at food sources, taking from us, right? And so if we have coyote energy around us, there might be tricksters present. There might be people that we need to be aware of or situations that we need to be aware of that might be um, how do I want to say this? Like the fact that he's sort of red speaks to this idea of like he might create resentment with us, aggravation with us. There's a lot of cool tones in these cards, right? There's all of these blues. We want to stay cool, calm, and collected like these blues. In the midweek, we have a little bit of this fiery energy in this strength of this lion and the fire that burns beneath this cauldron. So what this speaks to me is that coyote comes in the midweek and becomes much more apparent and obvious to us. It's obvious in the beginning of the week, but we may not have it quite pinpointed as to what the problem is. By midweek, I feel like we know. Coyote's red color is here, and he becomes the impetus of this fire underneath this cauldron that requires us to sort of build the strength to get direct to go after what it is we want versus dealing with this situation that might be outdated, not fun, frustrating, aggravating for some of us. This could be a family member, this could be a partner, this could be a good friend that maybe is extra critical, right? And they do it from a place of sort of love. To me, coyote's not super harmful. Coyote's like the trickster, right? Coyote's the one that sort of, how do I want to say this? I might feel like I might want to say that they feel justified in their action because all they're trying to do is sort of feed themselves or take care of their needs. And to me, that's fine. That's appropriate, but they'll do it to the but buddy, stop snorting. They'll do it to the disadvantage of others without much of a sort of care, if that makes sense. You know how coyotes sort of have that, like I'm thinking maybe it's a hyena, but like they sort of have that cackly call too, like they sort of laughed it off, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, don't worry about it. And it's interesting too because this is card number 12, which reduces down to a 3, which we have this 3 of Cups back here. And I feel like midweek the coyote makes themselves present. That's what sets the fire in motion for us to build the determination and the strength to move forward towards our dreams and away from these situations that are no longer sort of giving us what we need. Okay, let me read coyote now, and we'll see if I'm even accurate. There might be a different definition in the book here, but that's sort of what I'm getting as I'm looking at these cards. Coyote, the essence. The coyote is the symbol of the sacred trickster, the one who provides detours for growth and understanding by ensuring that things don't go as planned. The coyote brings the energy of divine deception to set you free from the shackles of that which doesn't serve you. Sometimes it appears that you will get everything you want, only to find that coyote brings you the opposite of what you had hoped for. The lessons offered by coyote may at first appear confusing, but they are most sacred and always for your highest good. So I did say that, guys, like coyote is here to teach us, right? And there's not like, it's not necessarily a full-on bad energy. It's just an energy we may not be in sync with. It might be an energy or a person that is just trying to take care of their needs first, and that's frustrating to us, or hard to look at, hard to deal with, but intuitively we know what's right. And this Hierophant by the end of the week says to me that we are free or stronger than this coyote or this situation that presents this coyote energy, okay? The invitation, the coyote calls to you. This is the time to pay special attention to detours and disappointment. They are the true tests of faith. You have set your intentions and turned them over to Great Spirit. That is here, I think. Yet you may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you are being led off course, off the path leading you to the most cherished dreams and desires. Remember this, Coyote is a sacred trickster and may be leading you into challenges to ensure that you are ready to handle what you've set in motion. Great growth and understanding come to you when Coyote calls your name. The medicine, as you are being seduced by what you think you desire. Are you being seduced by what you think you desire? Could it be that the more superficial, sparkly, shiny aspects of your ambition led you in this moment? Perhaps you feel that in order to get what you desire, you have to compromise yourself, control others, or manipulate situations to ensure your goal is met. Coyote howls in the shadows to remind you that this may be a lesson too painful to learn. Beware the shallow waters right now. Something or someone might pretend to be deep, but that doesn't make them so. No matter how seductive their superficial traits and how beautiful or sparkly they appear, all that glitters there will not turn up gold, no matter how many wishes you make to change that. So keeping mindful this week that there might be some trickster energy around us, some things that are not in our best interest. We want to stay aware of that. This is not something to fear or worry about, guys. It's just something that we need to become aware of and allow it to teach us. And if we can, we want to find that gratitude that for this coyote, right? This is what will bring us sort of that learning and that freedom and that education that we see in this Hierophant. There's a strength in the Hierophant, and by week's end, I feel like we will be stronger for having gone through this week. It's not a bad week for me. It just feels like there is some challenges that we're dealing with, but they're challenges that we need to face so as to grow. The grounding stone, this is an energy you want to ground in throughout the entirety of this week. The focus is on the word happiness. So keeping your own happiness at the forefront of all of this, allowing your own happiness to be sort of almost a guide, or what is sort of maybe keying in for you emotionally to let you know where the tricksters or the trickster energy may lie, I think that will help. If something doesn't make you happy, then it's probably not in your best interest. It's probably not worth your attention anymore, right? I would say pursuing your own happiness and your own connection to self is really going to be key this week. And it's keeping that as your focus. That is your forecast for the week. Sorry I ran long. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow. And please like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can certainly send them to me at the business page or just comment them on the video and I will try and answer them for you. Have a great day, you guys. Have a great week. I love you all. Bye-bye.